Sand on toes, cold sand and sleeping bags. I come to know that memories were the best things you ever had. The summer shorn, beat down on bonehead back, so far from home where the ocean stood, down dust and pine bone track. We stood steady as the stars in the woods, so happy-hearted in the warmth, rang true inside these bones. As the old pine fell, we sang.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna. I hope that you're having an amazing day. So as you could tell by the clips that you saw before me popping in here, I recently went hiking. I recently went apple picking with a few friends on Sunday, and it kind of inspired this blog post which led to a video, which is how to make friends and keep friendships as an adult, or as I like to call it, #adulting. Yeah, that's just what I related to. But before we get further, I am dressed like this because I had a job interview today. So that's why I'm looking so professional. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of clear that out the way. But the main focus of this video, I want to start out with how to maintain friendships and then how to start new ones. So I recently graduated from college, and it was during this transition period in the summer that I realized, oh, like we're all in different cities or states even, like how am I going to keep up with my friends? And that's something that I feel like a lot of people struggle with during this transition period. So yeah, if you've made it to adulthood, chances are that you've taken a Myers-Briggs test, in which, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of a personality test where they break you down into like 4 different parts. And for me, I'm INFJ, which means I'm an introvert, I'm intuitive, I'm feeling, I'm judging. And so I want to focus on the introverted part because it's easy for me to kind of go into this hole of introvertedness where I'm not really engaging with anyone. I could be a homebody and really just be comfortable by myself. But I also realized that, you know, to do that would mean just losing friendships and not having those people that I really do love and admire and want to keep in my life. So something that I've really made the intention of doing is scheduling out dates where it's kind of like appointments where I cannot back out of them unless something really awful happens, the way you would with a meeting or a job interview or anything like that. Really writing it down on my calendar and scheduling it in makes it 10 times easier to make myself accountable. Whereas if my friend was like, hey, are you free Friday? Come chill. It's kind of relaxed and informal, so it doesn't feel like I have to go, and I could just stay at home and watch Netflix, which is what I ended up doing a lot of the time. So something that I recently ended up doing, like I said, is writing it on my calendar and scheduling it in the way I would an appointment, and that has been working for me. So if you're someone who likes planning and likes to do that type of thing, then that might be a helpful tip. Another thing is focusing on quality over quantity, and that can mean for friends but also for the amount of time you spend. So what I mean by that is, let's say, you know, you're that person who has a whole bunch of friends in a whole bunch of different groups, right? That's amazing, and if you thrive off of that, cool. But as you get older, like I said, it's harder to kind of carve time out for everyone, and you really have to hone in on who's really important in your life and really cultivate that friend group. You are the culmination of the 5 people that you hang out with the most. It's scientifically proven. So really surround yourself with people who inspire you, who motivate you, who push you to be the best version of yourself that you can be. And let's face it, like, I hope you have a good time. So yeah, I really focus on cultivating my friend group and making sure that I have people who do all those things that I mentioned for me and really like raise my vibe. And if I feel like they're not doing that, then I reevaluate that friendship in that situation. Are they going through something, or is this them and I'm just kind of realizing it now? And if that's not something that I want in my life, then I'm not afraid of letting that friendship go. I think a lot of us focus on, you know, this sense of loyalty, and I am loyal, but I also am loyal to myself and what I deserve. And I feel like if a person isn't being a good friend, then that's not something that I need in my life, and you know, not to be rude, but they can go somewhere else. Don't be afraid of really looking out for yourself. Like I said, if they're going through something, then definitely, you know, offer out a hand, a heart, an ear to listen. But if they're just kind of that negative, low vibe, then maybe they're, you know, they're not meant to be in your life, and that's fine. Not everyone's meant to be there forever. And I think you kind of hold on to that. I know I especially do. But some people are just here for a reason and a season, and then, you know, they go, and that's fine. But in terms of time, I think a lot of us like to have this idea of like we have to hang out once a week. If we don't, then we're not friends. Like, and that's not the case, especially as you get older and you have all these things to do and people to see and just self-care. I think focusing on a good amount of time, you get to spend with the person. So rather than, you know, having brunch with them, where you're having this environment where it's very hustle bustle and there's people all around and you're focusing on your food and make sure there's not bugs in it, having that situation kind of diminishes the amount of, you know, quality you can have with that person, quality conversation. I mean, how much can you really talk about over brunch besides like the weather and, you know, just like superficial things, but to have that heart to heart, that soul talk that you're probably looking for, I think you really need that time together, whether it's sitting on the couch and like baking cookies and doing it that way, or going out for a walk together, or and really having like that alone time with that person or that friend group where you're able to just engage with each other and be solely focused on each other is so important. Another thing that I think is super helpful in terms of just maintaining friendships is understanding that that doesn't always mean face to face, and I think that we often jump to texting, which is a great way to keep in contact, but we forget about Skype, we forget about FaceTime, we forget about Snapchat, and all those different ways that we can show ourselves and be present with them without actually being there in person. And that's so important, especially like if you live states away or even in another country, like that it's not always an option to see them. So having that time where you sit and like Skype or FaceTime or whatever, and you see that person's face and you hear that person's voice is so utterly crucial to maintaining that friendship and that sense of connection with a person. And tying it back in, like if they do live in another country, maybe you schedule a vacation, which, you know, brings it back around to like quality time versus quantity of times. So those are my tips and tricks on how to maintain those friendships that you have, and you're in this transition period of like, how do I keep them, and then we're all both also busy and all of that jazz. So I want to jump into how to make friends. So like I mentioned before, I am a total introvert. I, you know, can easily just kind of stay in a corner of a party and not really talk to anyone and be fine and just on my phone, totally cool. But I also kind of struggle with a little bit of social anxiety, where if I know I'm going to a party and I don't really know anyone, I'll get kind of anxious and very hyper aware of myself and my mannerisms and the way I'm dressed and all that jazz. So I've been watching Charisma on Command, and he's this amazing YouTuber here, and he talks about basically how to be charismatic, how to talk to different types of people, how to always have conversation topics, how to engage with others in a meaningful way where you're kind of more likable. And you don't really realize how important charisma is until you're in a situation where you need it and you see others who are just naturally that way, and you wonder how it is that they came to be. And that's why Charlie, who's Charisma on Command, started the channel, was because he was introverted and shy and didn't know how other people engaged with others and was funny, and you know, people wanted to be with them. So long story short, I watched this video on Charisma on Command about how to engage with others at a party situation, and the first thing they said was ground the situation, which is basically kind of like find a point of connection. So rather than just talk about like the party itself, talk about who do you know at the party. Do you happen to both know the host? So then you could talk about backstories with them, or maybe you know someone else at the party, and maybe you were both at the same party a week ago and you didn't even know it. Just finding different ways to connect with a person quickly is the best way to kind of keep a conversation going, rather than just kind of focusing on superficial things, because as an introvert myself, I hate small talk. Like, I hate that first like little like, what do you do? Like, there's so much more that you could say. And there's like I said, I'll link the video down below because he gives way better questions to give other people on those small talk kind of topics, but in a way that makes it more engaging and meaningful to build that rapport with a person. So that is something that helps me out. Another thing that has helped is kind of using Bumble BFF. So if you didn't know, there is Bumble, which is a dating app, and there's Bumble BFF, and it's all in the same app. And I found this totally by accident. I jokingly asked on Facebook, like, oh, is there like a Tinder for friends, because I'd love it. And someone commented, yeah, it's Bumble BFF. So I immediately went onto Bumble BFF, and like scrolled through, and it's amazing. There are all these people who are looking for friends just like the same way that you are, and they have their interests, what they like to do, who they are, their age, all that jazz, how far away they live from you. And it's a really great way to engage with other people in a kind of safe, non-committal way, and also just like I said, build those connections with people. Personally, I have not made any like real friends off of it, but I haven't really been using it, so that could be the reason why. But I know plenty of people who have made like really great friends off of it. So if that's something that you're into and you're down to go have a friend date, which surprisingly carries like a lot more weight for whatever reason. I was talking to this one girl about it actually, where we're like, I feel like it'd be more nerve-wracking to go on a friend date than like a date. And yeah, so Bumble BFF, definitely give it a shot if you have not. It's just fun to go through, if anything. And another example of how I like to make friends is to ensure that I follow up with whoever it is that I have recently engaged with. If we have exchanged numbers or Snapchat or Instagram, I like to like message them and follow up with them, and maybe set up a coffee date or a hangout session somewhere. That follow-up is so crucial to building up that friendship, because yes, you may have connected for like that hour at a party, but what's going to come of it? You have to be the one to initiate it. If you sit around and wait for another person to initiate it, you may be waiting forever, because they might be doing the same, or they might be super busy, and it's easy to kind of put everything on other people. And that's one way I like to use to get out of like engaging with other people. It's like, oh, they didn't, message me. Well, who says that you have to wait around? It doesn't make you look desperate or anything like that. It just makes you look excited to hang out with them. So make sure that you follow up with whoever it is that you were chatting with at a party or at a coffee shop, because you never know where that might lead. And there are so many, ways to engage with other people. You could join websites where it's like, I think there's one called Meetup. It's like a meetup organization where it's based on your interests, and essentially you would meet up with these people at whatever it may be. My one friend, she likes to go do line dancing, so they'll all meet at a line dancing like bar or restaurant, and they'll go line dancing with strangers, and then they're not strangers anymore, and you have friends in a new area. And even Tinder, like there's so many people on Tinder who are like, I just moved here, like I'm looking for friends. And that's just such an easy way. Like, everyone's looking for friends, everyone's looking to make those connections and interact with each other. We're social creatures. We crave that, whether you're introverted or extroverted to some degree. We all need a little love from our friend, so you're not alone. And if you have a new or different way of how you like to make friends or maintain your friendships and keep them alive, please leave them down below. I'd love to read more, because I'm always down to look at and find new ways to make friends, because I'm always looking for someone cool and different to hang out with and just interact. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next one. Bye. Yeah.